And we are back. Hello, everybody. I got some time to record. I got the air conditioning on. I got my water close by. It's a good day. I did not record the little scene that got us to shore here, so I apologize for that. But basically, last time we met up with Samuel, who is the boatman on the team that we're going to meet soon. They're called the Loyalists. They're loyal to the crown, meaning that they do not support the Lord Regent's coup. They're loyal to the Caldwins, so they would support Emily's rule if she could be found. And they make their home here at the Hound Pits pub, which used to be a pub slash dogfighting ring sort of place. And Samuel's great. Samuel says as you're sailing up to it, that it's been closed for business since half the district was marked off for the plague. So this part of the district, which I can't remember offhand exactly which district it is, there's a lot of locales in Dunwall. This district was hit pretty hard by the plague, and so they basically just boarded up half of it and evicted everybody. So the Lord Regent doesn't know that they're here. As far as anyone's concerned, no one is here. But if anyone finds out what they're up to, the City Watch is likely gonna storm in. So yeah, he takes us to shore and he says it's time to meet with Admiral Havelock, who is a man to be reckoned with. So let's go meet him.
I expect they're hard at work in there. Best join them. They'll help you get whoever really killed the Empress. I'm sure the Admiral is anxious to meet you. It wasn't easy getting you here. I wouldn't hang about if I were you. From what I understand, time's getting short.
So Samuel's great. We love Samuel. This is his little boat that he takes you to and from missions on, which is kind of cool. This is the Hound Pits pub. This is our little home base area. And it's right along the river here. And actually, literally across the river, I don't know if you can see it, but right where my cursor is in the middle there, that's the prison that we were kept in, Coldridge. And, yeah, it's hard to see it from here, but across the sort of waterway from it, across the river from here, next to the prison, is, the waterlock that we went up at the beginning of the game, and up there is the castle, or the tower, or whatever it's called. So, yeah, they do a good job keeping all the environments sort of rooted in the city. Something's going on in there. So this is the old bar. Across the way in that warehouse-looking building is where the dogfighting pit is, which is now not in use. Let's meet the Loyalists.
Starting at last, Admiral. We found our man. Even after 6 months in Coldridge Prison, he slipped out like it was nothing.
Yes. Not surprising. He was the personal bodyguard of the Empress. You've heard the stories.
Yes, I have. It still amazes me that someone could get to the Empress and young Lady Emily.
No one knows the real story, Trevor. We all have our suspicions. We'll know the truth in time.
He's strong and quick. But I hope he understands subtlety as well.
This isn't one of your fancy dress parties. The reality is that we need men killed. Have you ever killed a man?
Only with my wit. But it's a fair point as always. He'll be here soon, and I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah, we're not going to be killing anybody, Havelock, so...
We can continue this later, Lord Pendleton. The man of the hour is here. Corvo, I'm Admiral Havelock. A true servant of the Empire, like you. Until the Lord Regent purged those of us who wouldn't recognize his claim on the throne.
And I'm Lord Trevor Pendleton. I represent the nobility in our little group, but we all act as equals here at the Hound Pits pub.
This is a momentous occasion, Corvo. I'm going to come out with it. We've been building a coalition of loyalists, aimed at ending the Lord Regent's tyranny and restoring the throne.
At risk of execution, we're committed to finding young Lady Emily and seeing her crowned as Empress.
We've got big plans, but we can't do any of it without you. We need your skills, your ability in a fight, and in helping us, we're going to help you destroy the men who murdered the Empress.
Sorry, you must be exhausted. We can discuss this further after you've recovered. But before you retire, you should introduce yourself to Piero. He's challenging at times, but his industrious mind buys him that right.
Yes, Piero's as much an artist as a technician. He's going to be crafting the gear you'll need. Go talk to him and then get some sleep. We can talk more when you've rested.
Alrighty. So...
Good to have you with us, Corvo. Nothing against the others, but there's no substitute for a man who's done his service for the crown. Have you talked to Piero yet? He made the weapons we left for you on your way out of Coleridge Prison. Go see him when you can. You don't know what it means to work with a man who stood at the Empress's right
face,
hand.
rude ass. Come on.
We can't bring her back, but at least we have the man she trusted most. And maybe we can help you right some of the wrongs done to you. This bar is mine, but please, treat it as your home. Piero still wants a word with you.
Okay.
Well,
we'll see him.
he's not a diplomat, but he's a brilliant man.
I do like to get to the end of every
Samuel is a blessing.
dialogue.
Without him, we couldn't navigate the waters of the river at night. We keep our lights low to avoid prying eyes. What I wouldn't give to be back at sea.
River traffic is forbidden from landing in the distillery district.
The distillery district. That's where we are.
Violators will be taken to the flooded district for treatment and rehabilitation.
I love these city announcements.
I told him I'd be
Oh, okay.
I might have taken to piracy after the Navy, but then inspiration struck me, and I started assembling our little group here. The Empire was built on its Navy. Never forget that. I served proudly until the bureaucrats took over. Pendleton's a good man. Used to be close to that snake, the Lord Regent himself. Don't be fooled by the fact that Pendleton's a noble, though. Not all of them are terrible. I bought this bar years ago. There were some happy times here before the plague hit the city. Before the Empress was killed and everything went to shit. We'll make it right again, together.
Do not attempt to house or care for a friend or family member who shows signs of blood on their face and chest area. The only way to help them is to bring them to the City Watch. They will be taken to the flooded district for treatment.
Yeah, flooded district for treatment. I'm sure they will be treated so well, and you know, they'll make a full recovery. Definitely, a place called the flooded district. Yeah, so I like to get to the end of what people have to say until you can't talk to them anymore, because that's where the lore lives, and you know me, I'm a sucker for lore, so I will eat it all up. So yeah, Admiral Havelock bought this bar after his time in the Navy. And there are some people here who are like servants and stuff, who have been working here since, like, I think before the time of the plague. Like, they've been working here a long time. And then there are some new folks on board. So one of them is Piero.
I'll be crafting your weapons and gear. All custom work. For you, I will create the tools of a master assassin.
That's very kind. We're not gonna kill anyone.
No! This cannot happen now the tank of whale oil is running. Will you get a new tank from upstairs, please, while I hold this in place? Be careful. The oil's unstable. When it explodes, there's a terrible mess. That one is empty. A new tank, please.
This is Pierre's little workshop. It definitely is very combustive, is that the word?
How did that happen?
But yeah, there's these fun little machines from courtesy of the Greaves Lightning Oil Company. On a coin, we'll take that. Grab this. Move tank carefully. We're gonna set this down for a sec and go through Piero's stuff. Let's see, Sokolov no longer has the upper hand with regard to supplies of whale oil. The good admiral has paid for the installation of my own system, which will enable me to work in this place. The oil tank dispenser, when activated, will produce an empty vessel for filling. When the empty tank is near the oil tank refill pump, the magnetic attractor should take the tank and lock it in the correct configuration. Using the lever will begin the refilling process. Once refilling is completed, the tank can be removed and placed in service. Extreme caution must be used in handling the full tanks. They are quite unstable. The system is sound and well engineered, and it appears that the Greaves Oil Company has done something correctly for once. Little excerpt from Greaves himself. He says, out at sea they secure the beasts with hooks, with lines cast from the main ship and from several smaller boats. Buoys keep the whale from diving deep. Once it's caught, a larger hook is driven through the tail, which is used to hoist the creature up through the chute. They moan and bellow for some time as the men get them onto the deck, then lift them into the scaffolding overhead. The ship adjusts its prow and returns to Port Dunwall, where the crew works on the great creature, slicing off the fattiest parts while it still lives. The whole whale industry is really brutal, but it's definitely the thing that makes Dunwall go round. In the DLC for this game, you get to actually go to a factory and I think put a whale out of its misery, which is like better. It's like a more positive experience than it sounds.
The Academy teaches that absurd idea that the energy in whale oil arises from the need to maintain life functions at extreme ocean depths. The pressure and the cold are too much to endure without it. I speculate that a human being might, by a process of adaptation, produce high-energy humors in the body. I could build a tank that would slowly increase pressure on a subject over a long period of time and then observe them for years if need be to see if the formulation of energetic substances develop. Surely the Empress would be able to furnish me with facilities subject to the necessary legal amnesty.
Some dark dreams you have there. So he's a scientist. We're gonna get his backstory as we go, but the long and short of it is he was a student of the Academy of Natural Philosophy, I think it's called. And he was rivals with Anton Sokolov, the painter/inventor that we saw in the first part. And he basically hates him. And Piero was actually kicked out of the university, I think because of like his ideas being kind of too pushing the envelope. But he actually gets his ideas mainly from his dreams, which are like sort of, you know, weird, spooky dreams. This is about whale vivisection. Yeah, pretty dark. Not gonna read it. Feel free to pause and read. Dead counter responsibilities. Excerpt from a manual on new City Watch procedures. Commissioned by the Lord Regent In the face of the growing plague crisis, the dead counter is a position that will only be given to officers, usually of junior or middle grades. In most matters of edict or curfew enforcement, these officers will defer to the acting officer on duty. However, any dead counter will have command in situations related to the plague and the handling of the dead, including those with late-stage plague symptoms called weepers in common parlance. Starting in the month of rain, interested officers may apply for the test and, if accepted, for the 2-week training tour. Pay will be administered in coin and rations of elixir at 1 1/2 normal pay grade. And then here's an excerpt from a series of lectures on natural philosophy about failed experiments by Piero himself. So he writes, "Of course I have attempted to improve upon Sokolov's designs. Of course, and why not? After all, it is likely that his thinking was influenced in some small way by our time together at the Academy. We are all part of a community striving to unknot the mysteries of the cosmos. Even those among us who possess the greatest minds are often led to a fruitful line of consideration by, how does one say it, our intellectual subordinates. Sokolov is no exception to this, despite the glamour of genius he has cast over the aristocracy. And further, it is true that many of my experiments have failed. No need to gossip about it behind my back in your social clubs and in the very chambers of the Academy itself. Great ambition requires risks. You may laugh now at my door to nowhere, but someday you will not. Your children will likely see it as commonly as you see the electric lamps lighting our streets at night. But a few short years ago, you would have laughed at Sokolov's arc pylon or wall of light. Your laughter, your condescending smiles, they are nothing but evidence of your own limited imagination." So, that door to nowhere is actually here. This is one of his experiments he's currently working on. Piero's door to nowhere has proven to be a safety hazard, but for me, this project is an endless source of inspiration. With the proper application of energies, I believe I can transform the door frame into a window of sorts, one that will allow a traveler to cover the distance from my workshop to some distant arbitrary point in a single step. Currently, the step leads to a sheer drop straight down into the courtyard, but in time, it will bridge gaps that will boggle the mind. Such work is many years away, to be sure, but if I survive this plague, I'm sure to succeed. Let's see if he'll hassle us about the oil before we're done reading. Piero's request denied. Piero, no, I will not sign off on these purchases. A bag of powdered crystal, Tivian ore. What's wrong with the metals and crystal? King sparrow feathers? If you need feathers, sacrifice your own pillow. Maybe at the Academy everything you needed was paid for by tariff and handed out willy-nilly, but this is my bar, or what's left of it, and we're operating on a budget. We're running low on oil, food, elixir, building materials, and everything else, so you've got to slow down. While I'm footing the bill, I will not approve your purchases unless they're absolutely required. No more copper wire or special herbs. If you need those things, go out and scavenge them. Half the city is in ruins, so no one is going to miss any of the odd crap you seem to need. Admiral Havelock. Let's see. This is about the elixirs. So, series of newspaper articles from prominent natural philosophers by Piero Joplin. This one says, "It is through no fault of my own that the average citizen has expressed a preference for Sokolov's elixir over my own formula, sold as Piero's remedy, a name I did not choose, if you must know the truth. The public has spoken its usual message of idiocy, spending their coin as a means of selecting Sokolov's formula over mine, which I believe to be equal if not superior. Much has been made over the popularity of these concoctions as a means of resisting this remarkable new plague. I say remarkable because this strain works with an efficiency we have not seen in the history of the Empire. This plague, now making its way through the city of Dunwall, is unrivaled in its effectiveness. I have studied it within the blood of those so afflicted, and it is nearly perfect. Elegant, in fact. And while it is true that Piero's remedy and Sokolov's elixir are known to protect the body against the plague equally, my own has properties not fully understood, which relate to the mind itself and the spirit. And it is in this way that my formula wins out. Here is where one should pay attention to this contest, for you see Sokolov's elixir, with its emphasis on the brute animal body, is a crass goo better suited for livestock. The subtle and secret variants in the key ingredients making up Piero's remedy ensure that it works on the higher functions that separate humankind from the mindless blue-jawed hagfish swimming in the Wrenhaven River. So, lots and lots of we're rivals, I'm better than him, you know, that sort of thing. Well, there's a book here. Let's see. Sokolov's Technology in the New Age, excerpt from a recent book detailing Sokolov's machines. One of the advantages of Sokolov's technologies is that they share the same magnetic socket for the tanks of processed whale oil they use as fuel. When a tank is exhausted, another can be plugged into place with ease, and the process is simple enough that any common workman or even the lower guardsmen of the City Watch can handle the task. This applies to the arc pylon and wall of light security systems, as well as the powered carriages used for transport by those few who are wealthy enough to afford them. The only obvious downside of Sokolov's designs is the volatility of the tanks themselves. A few incidents have occurred, resulting in damage to property or bodily harm whenever one of the tanks has exploded. So, yeah, be careful with whale oil, the game says. Okay, let's get that tank from upstairs. Lots to read, but all of it good, in my opinion.
Perfect. Now plug it in. Perfect. Thank you, Cole. Here, see? The assassin's mask. You're a wanted man, so everyone in the city knows your face, but this mask will mean terror to them. If you just hold still, the fit must be precise. There. Can you see normally? See the lens out of alignment. There. Better now? I could create more for you. Upgrades for your gear, weapons, munitions. But our situation here is desperate. Scavenge the city for valuables, and I will resell them on the black market. That should give us the money to craft the things you need. Tell me what I can make for you.
Hell yeah, let's buy some stuff. And then we'll probably call it here. I'm gonna spend most of my money on sleep darts. Just in case we need them. Let's see. Accuracy and range would be good. Bone drop capacity is also good. Let's do accuracy for now. We'll get more later.
You must be exhausted. I advise that you get some sleep. Your life will get even more difficult soon. You should rest while you can.
Let's look around for a while.
Very well. You know best. Let me know if you need anything more.
Great. Alright, I'm gonna call it here for this part. And when we come back, we'll explore the rest of the Hound Pits.